Thank you once again for allowing me the indulgence of sharing with you not my own perspective on resilience. It is what's been given to me to then relate to myself first and then also to you out there who have the time and patience to consider a different viewpoint, a different lens on what we have internally, innately, inherently to drive us forward towards our unique yet connected purposes and messages. This, I hope, make this only the part three, the last part three of discussion of the previous two episodes called The Sound of Thou. I've been sharing with you passages and excerpts from the book from Mr. Martin Buber, I and Thou. Again, I hope I don't over belabor this discussion about this one word that has now driven these three episodes. But the book from Mr. Buber is so riveting, enlightening, and just revealing to me things that I never would have even thought to investigate or do that introspective digging into what it means to me. It's not really about what it means to me, but how it strikes me to move, to unthink, meaning to observe. Listen to the words that I'm reading as they resonate within me just from the reading of them and the notes that I jot down and then have given quote unquote birth to this episode today. So let me continue with a piece of this that a bit more context about what it means to me, this word thou, even though even the practice or the initial practice of using it somewhat in a daily basis, in a daily conversation, it does feel weird when I think about doing it. But if I unthink and just use it, I'm telling you, it has a feeling, a driving force, and input to my desire to give you something that is intentional, that is curious, that is sincere from me, and everyday original from me. Anyway, enough of the preamble. Let me share this last piece that I think is pertinent to this episode and to this series of three installments on The Sound of Thou. I'm reading from his book now. Quote, that you need God more than anything, you know at all times in your heart. But don't you know also that God needs you in the fullness of his eternity, you? How would man exist if God did not need him? And how would you exist? You need God in order to be, and God needs you for that which is the meaning of your life. Teachings and poems try to say more and say too much. How murky and presumptuous is the chatter of quote unquote the emerging God. But the emergence of the living God we know unswervingly in our hearts. The world is not divine play. It is divine fate. That there are world, man, the human person, you and I, has divine meaning. Let me stop there. Again, that's just a small passage in a book replete with not just suggestions, but insights that, to me, just my statement, are beyond this world that Mr. Buber saw, experienced, wrote, and then shared with the world. So I probably would call this part 3 of this series on The Sound of Thou with a tagline, I love thou. I love in thou. I love the thou of you. Maybe I'll say something like, I love you. No, I love thou instead of you. I know that sounds a little different from someone you haven't even met. Even those of you who have met me, it still might sound a little, let's call it different. But again, as I promised you, I do want to change your perspective just on this present moment. Maybe just for a moment of these 500 we're sharing today. But I hope to give you something that you can use on your journey. This is about my journey. Not selfishly, but self-firstly, for you to get a perspective on what this guy's talking about on this big subject called resilience that can be kind of fluffy out there. I'm trying to add some contextual substance for you to consider, wrestle with, digest, spit it out, or internalize, make it part of your journey. So this part about what I think I mentioned in the previous episode, that love existing as a responsibility of an I and for a thou. Maybe that part I kind of glossed over in the previous episode, but think about that. When I mentioned to you about what I am saying, we have more in common than in difference, and I always go back to, let me scratch that. I always review and repeat that essence I'm talking about, the heart, the heartbeat, even getting more medical, the blood coursing through my body, just like through your body, certainly. Different blood types. Maybe you have a higher metabolism, your blood flows as fast as mine does. Still, not just the physical substance, but that substance we can't see, yet we can feel it. We can hear it. And that's why perhaps I use that term for the past 3 episodes, the sound of thou. The sound of thou. Just consider, just for a moment, the last 10 seconds of this episode. Try using that word. See if it infuses you like it does me. See if it incites something positive in you like it does me. Instead of using the word you, just try it. Thou. I love you. No, I love thou called you. I love thou, Ming. I love thou who listen. I love thou of me listening to you. Wow. All right. Enough of that for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time we meet, we must meet. I must meet thou. Stay present. Stay current. No matter where thou art in this world, it is still 8:20.